When I think about friendship, I think about how rare it truly is to find someone who's willing to stand by your side, no matter the circumstances. It's like finding a diamond in a sea of glass. You know, when a man who had no friends was asked why this happened, he responded, friendship is like a diamond. It's rare, expensive, and there are a lot of fakes. And he's right. Friendship isn't something you come across every day. It's precious, something to be cherished. But there are so many who throw around the word friend as if it doesn't carry weight, as if it doesn't come with responsibilities and commitments. And that's where the problem lies. Friendship is more than just hanging out, sharing laughs, and having a good time. It's deeper than that. It's about being there when times are tough, when the storms hit, and when the world feels like it's crumbling around you. That's when you find out who your real friends are. When you make mistakes not just once, but a second and a third time, and you still find someone standing there beside you, that's when you know you found a real diamond. But let me tell you, more often than not, what you'll find are fakes. People who are there for the good times but disappear the moment things get tough. There's a man who once said that a friend is a person to be valued and treasured. But unfortunately, there are rarely any friends in life you can really value. And that's true for so many of us. We live in a world where trust is fragile, where people are quick to take advantage of kindness, and where friendships can sometimes feel more like transactions. People come into your life, they take what they need, and then they leave, and you're left there wondering if you ever had a real friend to begin with. Haruki Murakami, in his book Norwegian Wood, touches on this. Through the voices of his characters, he captures the essence of deceit and the fear of disappointment. One character asks, do you like loneliness? And the response is powerful, I don't like being alone. I just don't make any extra acquaintances. I don't want to be disappointed in people. That's the thing about friendship, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's beautiful, fulfilling, but on the other hand, it can be painful, even heartbreaking. And when you've been let down enough times, when you've given your heart and soul only to have it stomped on, you start to retreat. You stop letting people in, not because you want to be alone, but because you don't want to be disappointed again. There's a parable that speaks to this so well. It's about the friendship between a boy and an apple tree. And it's a story that I think everyone should hear, whether you got friends or not. The boy, as children often do, found joy in the simplest things. He became friends with the apple tree, swinging on its branches, eating the apples it gave him, and imagining himself as the king of the forest. The tree, in return, gave everything it had to make the boy happy. It sheltered him from the hot sun, let him rest in its shade, and took joy in his happiness. It was a pure, honest, and sincere friendship. But as time passed, as the boy grew up, he visited the tree less and less. He found new interests, new friends, and he didn't need the tree as much anymore. The tree, though, still waited for him, still longed for his companionship. One day the boy came back, and he was no longer the carefree child he once was. He was troubled, upset, weighed down by life's demands. The tree, seeing his friend in pain, asked him why he no longer played with it, why he no longer swung from its branches or imagined himself as a king. The boy, in a somber tone, replied, a king must have money and I don't have any. Neither do you. The tree, desperate to help his friend, offered its apples, saying, take them, sell them, and then you will have money and you will be my good and happy friend again. So the boy took the apples, sold them, and made his money. But he didn't return to the tree. The tree waited, as friends often do, patiently, hopefully. But the boy didn't come back for a long time. When he finally did, he wasn't the joyful boy the tree remembered. He was unhappy with life, burdened by problems. The tree, still hoping to be of use, asked him, why did you take so long to come? I have missed you. The boy, disillusioned, said, everyone has a family and children, but I don't have one because I don't have a home. What's the point of our friendship if you can't give me a home? The tree, with nothing left to give but itself, said, cut down my branches and build yourself whatever home you want. Then you will be happy again. And so the boy did just that. He cut down all the branches, built himself a house, started a family, and lived his life. The tree, now bare and broken, waited once more. Years passed, and the boy, now a man, came back again, this time with even more complaints. He was tired of life, sick of everything. He wanted to sail away to escape from the world. He needed a boat but didn't know where to get one. And the tree, which had already given so much, was silent for a moment, looking at its friend with sadness. But the man, without waiting for a response, took out his axe and cut down the tree's trunk to make a boat. And once again he left without even a glance back at the stump that was once his friend. Time passed and the stump, now alone, began to fade. But life goes on as it always does. And one day a little green sprout emerged from the stump, growing into a young, beautiful apple tree. The tree, now wiser and more guarded, learned to live again, to find joy in each day. But one day a little boy came to the tree and said, "Hi, let's be friends." The tree trembled but didn't answer. It no longer believed in honest and sincere friendship. There's a powerful message in that story. There's a lot to be said about friendship, especially when it's genuine. You know, when you really feel connected to someone, when you trust them, when you believe they're there for you no matter what. That kind of friendship, it can be one of the most beautiful things in life. It lifts you up, gives you strength, makes you feel like you're not alone in this world. You walk through life knowing someone's got your back, and in turn you got theirs. That's a powerful bond. But let's be real when that friendship gets taken for granted. When one person gives and gives while the other just takes, something changes. It leaves marks, scars that aren't easy to heal. You start to question everything. You wonder if what you had was even real. Was that friendship genuine, or was it just convenience? Did they care about you for who you are, or was it only about what you could do for them? George Carlin said it right when he remarked, inside every cynical person is a disappointed idealist. See, people don't start off cynical. Nobody wakes up one day and decides to mistrust everybody. No, that's a learned behavior. It comes from experience, from getting burned too many times, from giving your all to people who never gave anything back. When you've been the apple tree for too long, when you've been the one giving and sacrificing over and over, and you start to doubt whether true friendship even exists anymore. You become that disappointed idealist, someone who used to believe in the goodness of people, but has learned to be cautious, learned to keep their guard up. And here's the thing, everyone talks about the hardest part of moving on being the pain and disappointment that others brought into your life. We've all been there, right? Someone hurts you, betrays your trust, and it stings. But let me tell you, something harder than just getting over that pain is forgetting those people altogether. It's letting go of the memories, the time, the energy, and the effort you invested in them. That's what lingers long after the initial hurt has passed. Even when you know deep down they weren't good for you and they caused you more harm than good, it's hard to forget. That's the real struggle. Because you don't just forget someone you cared about, someone you thought was a friend. You see, when you pour your heart into someone, when you're there for them through thick and thin, that leaves a mark. It's like you planted a piece of yourself in that relationship. And when it doesn't grow into what you thought it would be, it's painful. It's frustrating. And the natural reaction is to become more cautious. You start to build walls around yourself, not because you don't want connection, but because you're trying to protect what's left. It's like the apple tree in that story I told you earlier. After giving all its apples, its branches, and even its trunk, all that was left was a stump. That stump had nothing more to give. And that's where a lot of us find ourselves after being taken for granted one too many times. But here's the tricky part. Even though we try to guard ourselves, even though we think we're doing the right thing by protecting our hearts, it's not always that easy. We still long for connection. We still want to believe that there's good in people, that true friendship is possible. But it's hard to open up again after being hurt. It's hard to trust that the next person won't treat you the same way. And that's where the inner conflict lies. On one hand, you want to protect yourself from being hurt again. You don't want to be taken advantage of, used, or forgotten like that apple tree. On the other hand, you don't want to shut yourself off from the possibility of genuine connection. It's a delicate balance, and it's not easy to find. That's why some people, after going through enough disappointment, choose to keep their circles small. They learn to rely on themselves more than anyone else. They become more selective about who they let into their lives. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. But let's talk about the struggle to forget, because that's where a lot of us get stuck. It's not just about cutting people out of your life and moving on. That's the easy part. The hard part is erasing the memories, the time you spent together, the conversations, the laughter, the moments that felt real at the time. Even when you know it's best to walk away, those memories still linger. They pop up in your mind when you least expect it, and it can be tough to push them aside. And you start thinking, what if it could have been different? What if I had done something differently? Maybe it wasn't all bad. Maybe there were good parts too. But here's the thing, you can't dwell on the what ifs. You can't keep replaying the past in your mind, trying to figure out where it went wrong. Sometimes things just don't work out. People change, circumstances change, and that's life. The important thing is that you learn from those experiences. You take the lessons with you, but you don't let them define you. When someone takes advantage of your kindness, your loyalty, your generosity, that says more about them than it does about you. It doesn't mean you're weak or naive, it means you're human. You believed in the goodness of people, and that's not something to be ashamed of. But now you know better. Now you know how to set boundaries, how to protect yourself without closing yourself off completely. You learn to recognize the signs of someone who's not there for the right reasons, and you become stronger for it. And here's something else to consider. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are there for a season, for a reason. And when their time is up, it's okay to let them go. It doesn't mean the time you spent together was meaningless. It just means that chapter of your life is over. And that's okay. You don't have to hold on to everything and everyone forever. Sometimes letting go is the best thing you can do for yourself. But again, that doesn't mean it's easy. The memories will still be there. The emotions will still come up from time to time, and that's natural. The key is not to let those memories hold you back. Don't let the past keep you from moving forward. You deserve to surround yourself with people who value you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. You deserve friends who give as much as they take, who are there for you when you need them, not just when it's convenient for them. It's like what they say about loyalty. It's not about who's around when you're doing well. It's about who's still there when everything falls apart. Those are the people you keep close. Those are the friendships you hold on to. But here's the catch. Those people are rare. True friends, the ones who stick with you through thick and thin, they don't come around every day. And that's okay. It's better to have a few real friends than a bunch of people who are only there for the good times. So when you've been hurt, when you've been disappointed, it's important to take the time to heal. Don't rush into new friendships just because you're lonely. Take time to reflect on what went wrong, on what you need in a friendship, and on how you can be a better friend yourself. Healing isn't just about closing yourself, it's about learning and growing from the experiences you've had. It's about understanding that not everyone will value you the way you deserve, and that's not your fault. And here's the most important thing. Don't let the bad experiences make you bitter. Don't let them turn you into someone who stops believing in the possibility of true friendship. It's easy to become cynical after you've been hurt, to build walls and push people away. But remember, inside every cynical person is a disappointed idealist. Don't lose that idealism. Don't lose the belief that there are good people out there, that real, genuine connections are possible, because they are. You just have to be patient. You have to be willing to wait for the right people to come into your life. And when they do, you'll know, you'll feel it. There's a difference between people who are in your life for what they can get and people who are there because they genuinely care about you. Those are the friendships worth fighting for. So if you've been the apple tree for too long, if you've given everything you had and been left feeling empty, know this: it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to focus on yourself for a while. You don't have to keep giving to people who don't appreciate you. But don't let those experiences make you close yourself off completely. Keep your heart open, because when the right people come along, it'll be worth it. You'll find that genuine connection you've been looking for, and it'll make all the scars and the hurt fade away. Remember, friendship, when it's real, is one of the most beautiful things in life. Don't give up on it just because you've been hurt. Learn from it, grow from it, and when the time is right, you'll find the kind of friendship that fills your heart instead of taking from it. That's the kind of connection we all deserve, and it's out there waiting for you. You just have to believe in it, and most importantly, believe in yourself. If you ever come across someone who doesn't seem to have friends, you might be tempted to think there's something wrong with them. You know how people are, they jump to conclusions, quick to judge without understanding the whole picture. It's easy to think that someone without friends must be difficult, antisocial, or even unfriendly. But here's the truth: that's not always the case. Sometimes it's deeper than that. Sometimes that person has been through some real pain. They've been hurt so many times that they've decided it's better to keep their distance rather than risk being hurt again. You see, friendships can be beautiful, but they can also be fragile. And when you've been let down, when you've trusted someone and given your heart only for them to take advantage of you or walk away, it leaves scars. Some people can heal from that quickly, but for others, the wounds cut too deep. Those scars make it hard to trust again. They make you question everything yourself, your judgment, even the concept of friendship. So when you see someone who keeps to themselves, who maybe doesn't have that tight circle of friends around them, don't be so quick to judge. You don't know their story. You don't know how many times they've tried, how many times they've given their all, only to be left feeling empty. And I'll tell you something: when you've been that apple tree, giving everything to someone who doesn't appreciate it, it changes you. You start off hopeful, believing in the goodness of people, believing that if you give, you'll get something in return. Not that you're expecting anything grand, maybe just some appreciation, some respect, some loyalty. But when that doesn't happen, when people take and take without giving any back, it wears you down. It makes you question if friendship is even real. And after a while, you get tired. You get tired of being the one who always gives, who always shows up, who always listens, while the other person just takes what they need and moves on. And here's the thing: trust, real trust, takes time to build. It's not something that happens overnight. It's like constructing a house brick by brick, carefully, thoughtfully. But when that trust gets broken, especially when it happens over and over again, it makes you hesitant to start building again. You become cautious. You don't want to let people in so easily anymore, because you know how much it hurts when they betray that trust. You know how much it costs to put your heart on the line only for it to be ignored or taken advantage of. That's why some people would rather be alone than risk going through that kind of pain again. It's not that they don't want friends. It's not that they don't crave connection or companionship, but they've been down that road before and they've seen where it leads. They felt the sting of betrayal, the emptiness that comes from giving your all and getting nothing in return. And after a while, they make a decision: it's better to be alone than to be hurt again. Now, it's not an easy choice to make. Being alone, truly alone, can be tough. There are moments when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders and there's no one around to help you carry it. But for some people, that loneliness feels safer than the alternative. They'd rather bear the burden on their own than risk letting someone in only to have that person add to the weight, instead of helping to lift it. And let's not forget friendships. Real friendships are like diamonds. They're rare, they're precious, and they're not easy to come by. If you're lucky enough to have one or two people in your life who you can truly call friends, you've got something special. That's not something to take lightly. You've got to cherish those relationships, nurture them, and never take them for granted, because those kinds of connections don't come around often. And when they do, you need to hold on to them with both hands. But if you've been the apple tree in someone's life, if you've been the one constantly giving, constantly sacrificing, constantly putting your needs aside for someone else, you've got to say, come on, it's okay and important. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say, I need to take care of myself. That doesn't make you selfish. That makes you human. You can't keep pouring from an empty cup. You can't keep giving to others if you've got nothing left for yourself. And that's where boundaries come in. You see, boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your own energy, your own well-being. They're about making sure that you don't lose yourself in the process of trying to be everything for everyone else. It's not selfish to say no. It's not selfish to take a step back and focus on your own needs. In fact, it's necessary. Because if you keep giving and giving without ever replenishing your own energy, eventually you're going to burn out. You're going to reach a point where there's nothing left to give. And that's not good for anyone. So if you've been the apple tree, if you've been the one who always gives, always sacrifices, always shows up, remember this: it's okay to tear yourself first. It's okay to set boundaries to protect your heart, to make sure that you're not constantly being taken advantage of. Because in the end, if you don't take care of yourself, who will? And here's something else to think about. Sometimes the people who don't have friends, the people who seem to keep to themselves, they're the ones who've learned this lesson the hard way. They've been hurt. They've been taken for granted. And now they're protecting themselves. They've realized that not everyone deserves their trust. Not everyone deserves their time and energy. So they choose to keep their distance, not because they don't want connection, but because they've learned the value of protecting their own peace. But let me tell you this, it's not easy to live that way. It's not easy to keep your guard up all the time, to constantly be on alert, wondering if the next person you let into your life is going to hurt you. That kind of vigilance is exhausting. And deep down, most people don't want to live like that. They want to believe in the goodness of others. They want to believe that real, genuine friendships are possible. But after being let down so many times, it becomes harder and harder and hold on to that hope. That's why if you're someone who's been lucky enough to find true friendship, you've got to recognize how special that is. You've got to hold on to it, nurture it, and never take it for granted. Because there are so many people out there who've given up on the idea of real friendship, who've been hurt so many times that they've decided it's not worth the risk anymore. And if you're someone who's been hurt, someone who's been the apple tree for people who didn't appreciate you, know this: it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to protect yourself. But don't let that hurt turn you into someone who's closed off from the world. Don't let those bad experiences make you bitter or cynical. Because while it's important to protect your heart, it's also important to keep it open. To stay open to the possibility of real connection, of true friendship. And I know that's not easy. It's hard to open up again after you've been hurt. It's hard to trust that the next person won't treat you the same way as the last. But here's the thing: you can't live your life in fear. You can't let the pain of the past dictate your future. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've been taken advantage of. But that doesn't mean that everyone you meet is going to do the same thing. There are good people out there. There are people who will appreciate you, who will value you, will give as much as they take. You just have to be patient. You just have to be willing to take the risk. And when you do find those people, when you do find that rare, precious friendship, hold on to it. Don't let the fear of being hurt stop you from experiencing the beauty of true connection. Because while friendships can be fragile, they can also be incredibly strong. They can withstand the test of time, the ups and downs of life, the trials and tribulations that we all go through. So if you've been the apple tree, if you've given everything you had and been left feeling empty, know this: it's okay to take a break. It's okay to focus on yourself for a while. But don't give up on the idea of friendship. Don't let the pain of the past keep you from finding the connection you deserve, because real friendship is out there. It's rare, but it's real. And when you find it, it'll be worth all the hurt, all the disappointment, all the heartache. It'll remind you that even though you've been hurt, even though you've been let down, there's still goodness in the world. There's still hope. And that's something worth holding on to.